Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America N.A.
I'm Howard Mackler, founder of Innovation Refunds. You've heard me talking about the payroll tax refund for months. If you own a business, even if you've asked your CPA about this, you owe it to yourself to take another look. We provide a licensed and insured tax attorney who evaluates your company at my expense to determine eligibility. Businesses of all types can qualify, so go to getrefunds.com to potentially get a payroll tax refund of up to $26,000 per employee. Download the Innovation Refunds app or go to getrefunds.com, getrefunds.com.
WNSR.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Bundling car and renter's insurance with Geico is so easy, your neighbors are probably already doing it. But who? Look for the signs. Chances are they live in a home and have a car. They use money and enjoy having more of it. They probably drink lots of lemonade. Lemonade. And they've probably said something suspicious like, "I'm bundling with Geico," or "Stop spying on me with those binoculars." If so, you may want to ask them how easy it was to bundle with Geico. Bundling is easy with Geico. Just ask your neighbors.
Listen, you can't handle the truth.
It's about to go off.
Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios.
Just a bit outside.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call now at 615-844-5600.
Alrighty then.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
And a good Wednesday afternoon to you, and it is time for the McFarland Show here on WNSR. Darren and Justin here with you for the next 2 hours on this gorgeous, gorgeous day here in Middle Tennessee. We are live in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Adam Johnson is alongside for the ride. We're going to talk to you today. We're going to just talk about a lot of stuff. We didn't get into everything that we wanted to yesterday. Abbreviated show on Monday due to the Braves doubleheader. A lot of reaction from you yesterday on the show, and we want to keep that going.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of things to talk about. I was glued last night, just to be totally honest. The NHL playoffs.
Okay.
And the NBA playoffs
and both
were fantastic.
Okay.
Well, look, the Florida Panthers, it's crazy, man. They pulled off the first round upset of epic proportions, and I guess they're not done, at least through game one.
No.
They go to Toronto, and they get game one. I mean, it's starting to feel, dare I say it,
like the Predators run?
Yeah, are they getting into that mode?
The 2017 run?
Team that was the 8th seed, nobody gave a prayer to get out of the first round.
Well, listen, you've been watching this much closely than I think a lot of us. What has it been about? Because there's a couple of things that can happen in the NHL playoffs that launch you on a run. The first thing that can happen is hot goaltending.
Yes.
Goaltender, I remember, if you go all the way back to the Anaheim Ducks, and one of the greatest goaltender runs I've ever seen, with everybody called him Jiggy, but John Jashman Jaguar, I believe, is how you say it. But he got
look at you, man,
smoking hot for the Ducks and was giving up like 0.7 goals a game, which, is you have to score one goal in order to win any game. And he was giving up 0.7 goals a game, which is why the Ducks were on the run that they did. So we know hot goaltending can get you a long way.
Sure.
But the other thing that can happen is you get a scorer who can't miss, or two, who are pouring in 2 to 3 goals a game, can't be stopped. Absolute inflago. They touched the Super Mario star in the game, and they can't be stopped now. What is it with Florida? How have they been able to do this?
They were the President's Trophy winner last year. Remember the stat that I've been
But
throwing out
they
there?
were the number 8 seed this year. So.
Right. Last year, they had the best record in the regular season, and they got ousted in the second round. Or was it the first round?
No, I'm not sure.
It was the first or second round last year.
Okay.
I think it was the second round.
Okay.
Okay. So they fall on the long line of the last 10 years. Second round last year.
Okay.
Yeah, they were the President's Trophy winner last year. Second round exit. Best record in the regular season. They go out and they land a huge free agent, Matthew Tkachuk. There's a reason why the Calgary Flames aren't as good, and they just fired their coach. Of course, Daryl Sutter looks like he's pooped in his pants every day. He looks very angry and looks like, something's made him mad. He's a very good coach, but he's got a short shelf life everywhere he is because he's hard to deal with.
Okay.
They had 2 big-time players leave them in the offseason. Johnny Gaudreau and Matthew Tkachuk. Johnny Gaudreau shocked the hockey world, went to Columbus. Why? No clue.
Okay.
But he did. Okay. Good luck to him in Columbus.
Okay.
Chuck went to the Florida Panthers. Big deal. It's a trade. And obviously they sent some important pieces to Calgary, but he is a dynamic player. He is a star.
So you're saying
and
they're
they
talented.
they were the President's Trophy winner last year without him.
So you're saying they're talented despite their number 8 seeding in the East?
Yes. Well, yes, but even though it didn't play out that way, you are what you are, right?
Yeah.
They were the 8th seed. They were last team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. So the 8th, that's why how did this 8th seed in the East pull off the upset over the Bruins and then come out and win game 1 under what must have been a very juiced crowd for Toronto, who now I would imagine see themselves as, man, we got an open opportunity to finally stop the madness up here and bring the cup back to Toronto.
Goliath got eliminated in the first round.
Yeah. So now all we got to do is step up and take this thing, and they can't beat the Florida Panthers.
Well, I mean, it's one game. Don't forget
Toronto. It's a 7-game. Yeah, sure.
Toronto got boat race. Remember in game 1 against Tampa? They lost, 7-3? They won the series 4-2. I will say this, Justin, and I'm somebody that believes in momentum.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it as much in hockey. I do believe in momentum. I really do. As someone who played sports, coaches sports, I believe in momentum. But for whatever reason, I used to push back. But over the years, I got told so many times from either hockey players or coaches, there is no momentum in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And I'm like, how can that be? Like, how can that be? But here's what they say. Every game is in of its own. Okay? If you do good, you flush it and you move on to the next game. It's gone. You do bad, you flush it and you move on, and you got to worry about the next game.
There are certain players who get hot, though, Darren, who remain hot.
True.
And have good matchups against the other team. It doesn't matter if it's game 1 or game 6. If I've got that guy's number, I've got his number. So
I'm just telling you, there is a certain faction of players and coaches that do not believe in momentum in the Stanley Cup playoffs. They do not believe in it.
Okay.
They believe every game is its own entity.
Okay.
And if you lose 7-0, who cares? We'll come back in the next game and win 3-1. We don't care. It's one game. It doesn't count against you twice. It's one game. They believe it. Whether you believe in that or not, whether you agree or not,
I just found out
us,
how the line changes last week, so
I've heard it for years, and I was just like, what are they talking about? And you hear it more, and you hear it over and over, and it's like, well, clearly, whether I agree or I don't agree, there is a certain mentality, and that's a lot of these players and coaches are wired. They don't believe in that. They believe every game is a game. That's it. It's a game. And if you win, you have to get ready for the next one because you know that things can change in a heartbeat. There's a prime example. They lose 7-3, and what did the whole hockey world and the whole hockey universe do? Oh, here we go again. Here's Toronto. This is what they do, right?
Yeah,
6 years in a row they've gone out in the first round. This is just what the Leafs do.
And the history is
and they're going up against the team that's been in the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row. Well, been another tough season, Toronto. Yeah. We'll see you next year.
Yeah.
You'll try to get to the second round next year, right? Left for dead. Won the series 4-2. Won 4 of the next 5 games. That's that. That's a wrap. Thanks for playing. Tampa's out. Toronto moves on to the second round. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know. Florida, I said it last night. I was watching. I was like, Florida's been the better team this whole game. Like they're probably going to win this game.
Okay.
And they did. So we'll see. But it's one game. And then you had Seattle and Dallas in the nightcap. Crazy game. Joe Pavelski's been out since game 1 in the first series by the hit from Matt Dumba. He comes back and scores 4 goals for Dallas, and they lose. Joe Pavelski, oldest player in NHL history to score 4 playoff goals in a game. He's 38 years old, and whatever the months and whatever the days. They've got it all laid out. Nice little stat.
Sure.
Oldest player to ever do it. 4 goals, first game back, after being out from game 1 in the first series. He got lit up by Matt Dumba. 4 goals, and they still lose.
Wow.
So the Kraken, same deal. They could have easily been like, hey, second year, we just beat the defending Stanley Cup champs. Hey, we're good. I mean, really, whatever happens. Like, everybody's going to love this season.
Didn't the Vegas Golden Knights do this as well in their second year or something ridiculous where they made a big run?
That would be the first.
That was the first year for them. Okay.
Yeah, they just went on and went.
It just seemed like it was 2 years because
they just went on and went to the Stanley Cup Finals. So everybody's like, really?
It just seemed like it was year 2, but it was year 1. Okay.
So I came back to this game because I was glued to the Lakers and the Warriors. I was glued to it, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, if the Lakers gag this game away, if they gag it away, they're done. They're not going to win this series. Like, this is their game. They got to win this game.
Yeah.
Anthony Davis was a monster.
Yeah.
30 points, 23 rebounds. LeBron had a good game. The Lakers were just the better team last night. And then Jordan Poole launches a 30-footer to try to tie it.
Well, they had Steph well covered. Now, do they need to find a way to get him the ball?
Right.
Yeah, they do. But, because Jordan Poole had no business shooting that in that situation. He was open, but he really probably shouldn't have been shooting the ball there. But Steph, if you look at the play, Steph was in a straight
he was 38 feet from the goal.
Well, they couldn't give him the ball if they wanted to.
Yeah.
I mean, he just, he was just out of the play, and that can't happen. You play sports, when the other guy is better than you, right? You know that. You want to win the game, you got to find a way, even if you got to go Terry Tate office linebacker style and knock some fools out the way to make sure that Steph gets the ball. He's got to get the ball here.
Yeah.
Because I don't need to be shooting. This Steph needs to be shooting.
Well, his body language said he should have been shooting because he was like, brr.
Yeah.
When it clanked and the Lakers got the rebound, he just bent over.
They got to find a way to get him the ball. They got to find a way.
Look, they're not done at all.
No.
One's literally one game. I still think the Lakers are, believe it or not, even though they won that game, they're still, I don't think, the team to beat in this series. I'll need to see it again. Golden State will get game 2. And then we'll see how LA plays. That's good. That's, to me, is where the series.
To me,
what can LA do at home?
If Golden State even gets game 2, if the Lakers even get game 2, I think Golden State's still very much in this thing. The Warriors at this point are about as battle tested as anybody you're going to be able to find. They're not going to be scared of anything.
Well, the Lakers won't either.
And neither will the Lakers, which is what makes this so interesting.
Exactly.
It's because neither team is really going to blink.
Yeah.
Or going to go home quietly, you would think at this point. And even if you hit big shot on top of big shot on top of big shot, which one of those guys is going to be like, well, I guess they got it tonight? Like, neither one. Both of those teams are going to always think they got a chance to win, period. And a legit chance at that.
It looks like it's set up for a long, long haul. And by the way, they're going every other night. Thank goodness. I mean, the NBA playoffs, sometimes it's like, okay.
They're in the same state.
They played on Monday night. We'll see you on Saturday. What?
Yeah.
The spacing sometimes has been a little ridiculous with the NBA playoffs, but they're going every other day now in this series. So
now
we'll see.
The last series here, the Knicks and the Heat, I'll tell you this. And listen, I'm no a huge fan of the New York Knicks, even if my wife is listening. I'm sorry. But how great is it to have the Garden and that energy and that kind of playoff atmosphere back in the NBA playoffs for real? Like, we're here in the second round. It's not like the first round. This is the second round now. It's the Heat. It kind of gives you a little bit of a nostalgic type of feel.
I just want to see Alonzo Mourning out there on the floor. I want to see Jeff Van Gundy.
There you go.
I want to see
Charles
him get out
Oakley.
there. I want to see Oakley. I want to see John
Starks. There you go. Bring those guys back.
Patrick
Hardaway,
Ewing.
Tim Hardaway.
You know,
let's make it happen.
Was Gary Payton on those teams?
No, that was later.
That was later.
No, that Knicks team, that was Allen Houston and Larry Johnson were on some of those teams. Latrell Sprewell was on some of those teams. It was ugly basketball, but boy, was it entertaining.
Yeah, I haven't gotten into that series as much. I know it's through 2 games. They evened it up last night.
Yeah.
I do think that Brunson kid is fun to watch.
Yeah.
For the Knicks, but I just haven't really gotten into that
If you watch
series.
a game, well, then now they're going to Miami, but if you watch a game in New York, that building has such an energy.
Well, yeah.
And it should.
They haven't had anything to root for
Since the 70s.
since what we were just talking about. No,
well,
longer than the 70s.
Well, that was their last
That was
championship.
what, 1990 we're talking about.
Well, yeah, the last championship, though, was the 70s.
Yeah, but I'm saying they had
was Willis Reed and them.
They had a window where they had stuff to root for, but it's been a long time.
Yeah, that's been 20, 30 years ago
since
it's been
two
the
decades.
Patrick Ewing, days and the days we're talking
They've
about.
been a laughing
the late
stock
90s, early 2000s.
For a long time.
Yeah.
Laughing stock.
Yeah.
So I haven't gotten into it as much, but I will tell you that the Lakers-Warriors series, I'll be watching that one. I'm intrigued by that series. Something that we did not mention yesterday should not come to a surprise to anyone. It certainly didn't surprise me, but the Memphis Grizzlies sent a very strong message to Dylan Brooks. Hit the bricks, pal, and don't come back. No more. Hit the road, Jack. Like, actually, you know what? Don't come clean out your stuff. We'll clean it out for you. We'll send it to you.
Send you a box.
Yeah, we'll send it to you, man. 2 men in a truck. Okay? Which was the right thing to do, man.
Didn't take them long either.
You know how I felt about it. I hated it because I found myself not rooting for them, and that's not the way I want to be. I don't want to be like that. I wanted to root for them, but he was such a clown that I found myself not even rooting for him. Like, they had just become such a joke to me. It's like the Warriors they had it right. They had it pegged right in the regular season. Like, go do something first, man. Go do something.
I mean, before you talk trash
before you act like this
to the Mount Rushmore guy.
Go get a trophy. Go get a ring, man. How about you do that? Because we got all kinds of them.
Yeah.
You guys are talking to us? So, yeah.
And he's not even the best player. It wasn't even like it was Ja.
No. Right. It was, or Bane. It's Brooks.
I could halfway see it.
No.
If it was, and really I can't see it, but I could halfway see it if it was one of them. But it wasn't them.
No.
Why are you pulling on Superman's cape and spitting in the wind? I don't understand.
Yeah. A Predators player has decided to call it a career. We'll come back and tell you who we're talking about. Plus, some Titans players spoke today. We'll hear from them as well. We'd like to hear from you this hour. We're wide open this hour. We want to continue the discussions that we had yesterday and talk to you. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in the sports world. We're not in the desert yet, okay? We're not there. There's still plenty to talk about, and we want to hear from you. 615-844-5600 is the phone line and the text line. More of the McFarland Show next.
Legacy Concrete is on the air saluting the brave men and women of our U.S. military. Their tireless efforts each and every day shall never go unnoticed. This message is brought to you by Legacy Concrete, covering up to a 50-mile radius of Middle Tennessee with quality service and pride. For residential or commercial concrete projects and foundation repair, call today and ask about their military and first responders discount. 615-661-8373. That's 615-661-8373. Legacy Concrete. They're professionals who care.
Bundling home and car insurance with Geico is so easy, your neighbors are probably already doing it. But who? They may drop little hints like,
beautiful day out. Even more beautiful since we saved by bundling our home and car insurance with Geico.
or
Yard work is hard. Much harder than bundling with Geico, which was easy.
or it may be even subtler, like,
Speaking of burgers, we bundled our home and car insurance with Geico and saved a bunch of money.
bundling is easy with Geico. Just ask your neighbors.
In uncertain times, you can be certain of this. The Salvation Army is serving those most in need with help and hope. Thanks to your donations, the Salvation Army is helping those affected by COVID-19, those who've lost wages, who have no home to retreat to, who need food, help with utilities, and most of all, hope. To see how you can continue to make a difference, visit GiveWestwood.org. GiveWestwood.org.
Clones, what do we want when we're craving protein or we need some more energy? Not bars, not sugary snacks, not energy drinks. What we want is beef, pure and simple. So where's the beef? It's in a package of Old Trapper beef jerky. Old Trapper is not your father's jerky. It's not shriveled, dry, and tasteless. Old Trapper beef jerky is made from lean strips of steak and quality spices that are smoked over a real wood fire. So it's tender and it's tasty. It's not tough. And why is it so good? Because Old Trapper is a 50-year-old family business known for their relentless commitment to quality. They take smoked beef extremely seriously, and you can taste it in every single bite. Old Trapper is packed with protein. It comes in 4 great flavors to satisfy all your cravings. Quality smoked meat at its finest that goes with you wherever you go, to the game, to the gym, to the beach. So look for Old Trapper in the Clearview bag. You can see the quality you're buying. Look for it in major retail stores near you. If you don't see it, clones, ask for it by name because no other jerky compares. Old Trapper, what's your beef?
Hello, this is Philip Cox from Strike and Spare Family Entertainment. Are you looking for new and exciting things to do with the family during the spring and summer months? Thanks to Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers, you don't have to look any further. Sign up today for Kids Bowl Free, a summer pass starting in May where kids 15 and under receive 2 free games of bowling every day. You can also purchase a family pass that allows you to join the fun as well. Visit any of the 5 local Strike and Spare locations in Hendersonville, Murfreesboro, Donaldson, Hermitage, and Tusculum to register or just visit kidsbowlfree.com/Strike and Spare. Strike and Spare, where fun is bowling.
It's a Bill King Show.
In Little League football, they play it off. You can't do it in college football, Bill. You got to come up with a bunch of computers and some BCS cockamamie scheme. My answer was yes. It's unique. Absolutely love it. I go into my garage every day and make sure there are no dust particles on those BCS computers. I do that.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
Honest opinions, genuine conversations. The McFarland Show.
Thank you, Big Voice Guy. Back here on this Wednesday. After a lot of time, thought, love, and support, I have decided that my career as a professional hockey player has come to an end. Now, if you just tuned us in just now, I'm not talking. This is not me talking, just so you know. I'm reading a quote.
Okay.
I am not a professional hockey player. I am so appreciative of everyone who has helped me along the way, especially the Ottawa Senators, where my career began, and the Nashville Predators, where my career ended. This was on Mark Borowiecki's Instagram page. This is earlier today. So Boro, affectionately known as, has decided to call it a career. Now, you know, I've been saying this basically all season when people are asking whether it was on these airwaves or the Predators official podcast. And I just said, I don't have any inside information. I'm just reading the room. I've been around him. I know him. I know the situation. They just added their 3rd child. He's a guy that has given up his body for his career, okay, whether it's blocking shots or fighting, very physical. His body has taken a beating.
Yeah.
And he's not 50 years old. I get it. He's, I think, 33 or so. But he's taken a pounding, man. And he went out the very beginning of the season and never came back. And I just said it's my gut feeling. Just kind of being around athletes for a long, long time. If you're asking me, and people said my opinion is he's going to retire. He's going to. I just don't see him coming back. I don't see. He's got 3 young kids at home. He's got his whole life in front of him. He's been in the league long enough. He's made good money.
Yeah, he doesn't have to come back.
He doesn't have to. It's not like he's made fortunes, but he's made good money.
Yeah,
for a long time, and so
he hasn't made the Mike Fisher money, right? Like
no. But Mike Fisher didn't need to make a lot of money.
That's true.
You know,
he's got other arrangements.
Yes,
that's true.
But he did make his money.
Okay, yes.
He did not need his wife's salary. But, you know, it doesn't hurt to have his wife's salary.
It doesn't hurt at all. No.
That is a lot more than his.
Yes.
He made about $50 million And I think she's worth, like
more than
$200 million.
Yeah, more than that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So the Fishers are fine. Like, they are not looking for Groupon before they go somewhere. They're like, hey, let's go through the gift cards and see if anybody gave us a gift card before we go to dinner. They're not worried about that stuff.
No, they're not.
We all do that, but they're not. So Mark Borowiecki calls it a career. Great dude. What more can you say?
No.
David Poyle, I asked him at the very end of the press conference.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I was the last question. And I said, has Mark Borowiecki told you his intentions yet on whether he plans on coming back or calling it a career? And David Poyle said he doesn't know. No, he has not told him his intentions. But he did elaborate on the question and say, I have offered him a job if he does choose to walk away with the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was interesting. And to me, again, and I think we talked about it that day.
Yes.
I was like, that to me, again, makes me feel better about what I've said. Not that I'm rooting for it. I want to be wrong.
Sure.
But if David Poyle's asking him, hey, if he really thought he was coming back and he was going to play, whether it was here or somewhere else, you don't ask that question, right? If you know someone's coming back, you're not asking that question.
That's
so
true.
To me, that was the hint. Like, they know.
Yeah.
They know.
Yeah.
It's
time.
Right. Again, his body has paid dearly for being a very physical player and sacrificing his body, and it's caught up to him, unfortunately.
Father Time is undefeated.
Yeah. So Mark Borowiecki calls it a career. What he does from here, I don't know. Like I said, David Poyle said you could stay here
for the Preds in some way, shape, or form.
You could stay
or whatever
here and
the
work
job
for
is.
Work for the organization in some capacity.
in some capacity.
Or I would say, look, again, I don't know. I haven't talked to the Borowieckis. Again, knowing him and just reading the room, I feel like he is going to live in two places and two places only. Those two you just heard in that Instagram. He's either moving back to Ottawa or he's going to stay right here and raise his family. And I think Nashville's got a real shot. I know, that's shocking, right?
Over Ottawa?
Right. Someone could actually stay here after their career and live here and raise a family.
That's never happened before.
I know, that's shocking. That would be setting an all-new precedent.
That rarely happens.
I know.
So hopefully that takes place.
I'm throwing it out there. I'm going out on a limb, saying there is a shot he could do what most people don't and actually stay here and raise a family after their
almost never
career.
Happens.
It really.
So that'd be great. It'd be great for him and the family.
Maybe that was the pitch from David. Be a first. Be a first to do that. Oh, wait a minute.
Players normally don't keep their houses and don't take their kids out of school and
the 8,000
stuff.
Star to do that.
No.
But hey, whatever.
Either Titan or Predator.
Right.
They all said,
or musician
or
what. I mean, just
it's
a profession.
It's pretty amazing the people who randomly live here.
It's unbelievable.
Just randomly live here.
Like, I stopped being surved a long time ago.
I did too.
A long time ago.
I did too.
Because it used to be like, really?
Yeah.
Or wow. Why did he move here? I used to ask people that. Why did you move here? Like, literally. And they would be like, why not? I remember the first time we had on oh gosh. The quarterback. Beathard. CJ Beathard.
CJ Beathard, okay.
He's like, I'm having a football camp this summer, la la la, and gonna have some big names coming to my camp. At the time, he was the 49ers quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I said, really? Who's coming? He's like, George Kittle's coming. I mean, he lives in Nashville. I was like, what? He does? George Kittle lives in Nashville? This is obviously many, many years ago. I was like, oh, what? He played at Iowa. What's the connection? Like, what's the connection?
Just randomly
He's
lives
like,
here.
there is no connection. He just wants to move here.
Just randomly lives here.
Because everybody else, there's no state income tax. Hello.
Just random.
That's a big deal for people with money.
Just, for me in the news business, it's when people pass and you find out they were in Nashville. Like, so the latest example of that, it happened just a couple of years ago, or maybe even less. The superstar of rock and roll, legendary guy, everybody knows the music, Little Richard, he died. When he died, where was he?
In Nashville.
At the Hilton Hotel across the street from Bridgestone Arena.
You know how I know that?
Lived up there for years.
No. Let me just say, you know how I know that? The old broadcast site we used to have at Bridgestone Arena.
Yeah.
You know that there in the plaza?
Yeah, the glass. Yeah.
All glass?
Yeah, the glass.
Used to have a broadcast site
Whatever
right
that
there
thing is, yeah.
For a long
the visitor
time.
center, but yeah.
Now it's turned into a bar or
I thought
whatever.
they've renovated. I don't know, but go ahead.
So I spent many, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours broadcasting right there in that spot.
Yeah.
And one day, I'm sitting there on the air, and I'm looking out because, it's fun. People watch,
Sure.
right?
Oh, yeah. And there's plenty of people to watch.
There's like a Cadillac Escalade.
Yeah.
Pulls up.
Yeah.
And a window rolls down, and there's somebody waving.
Yeah.
People are going up. And I was like, who? Like right there.
Yeah.
By the broadcast, right there by the window. Right there on Fifth. That's Fifth Avenue.
Yeah.
And I'm looking and I'm looking. I'm like, he gets out. I'm like, what? Who is that? Yeah, it's a little Richard.
Little Richard.
And he's just driving around.
Yeah.
Just talking to people.
Where does he live? Upstairs at the Hilton in one of the penthouses up there.
Yeah.
Lived up there for a long time. For over 10 years.
Yeah.
He lived up there.
I mean, what I'm talking about is probably 10 years ago.
Yeah. He lived up there a long time. And it's just completely
By the way,
why
Justin,
would he live here? He's not from here.
When you stare out those windows, what are you staring at?
Which windows now?
The windows I'm talking about. What are you staring
the
at?
Hilton.
The
Hilton.
The Hilton.
The Hilton Hotel.
Yeah.
It's right there.
I didn't know that.
It was one of the original, the Hilton was one of the original, one of the first big investments downtown.
If they knew what Nashville was going to do,
they would have built it a lot taller.
They would have built it a lot bigger.
Because I think it's only 5 or 6 stories.
Yeah.
It would have been.
It was a whoops.
It would have been 27.
I was going to say it would have been 2 to 3 times the size.
Yeah.
If they knew what Nashville was going to end up being.
Yeah.
When they built that. You're right. That was like the first big time hotel.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, Hilton Suites.
Just.
Ooh. Right here next to the arena?
Just random people.
Wow.
Random people. Like, why would little Richard live? Like, he's not a country music star. What is he doing here? It's just random. But anyway.
But that was a prime example of, wow. Because I started asking around, they're like, yeah, he lives here.
He lives up there.
Really? Yeah. I was like, of course. Why
not?
Why do I even ask? Of course.
Why not?
Of course.
Of course he does.
All right. Today, there was some players for the Titans that talked to the media. Do we have any?
Yes, we do.
Any audio?
We've got Ryan Tannehill. He's the quarterback of your Tennessee Titans, starting quarterback, that is. Adam, our producer superstar. First one out the gate, sir, is where he talked about the lack of wide receivers. Now, we know the Titans did not draft a wide receiver until the 7th round. Colton Dowell, the young man from Wilson County, went to UT Martin. He was the only wide receiver taken among the Titans' 6 picks in the NFL draft. They asked Ryan Tannehill how he felt about it, and this is what he had to say.
They don't ask me, my thoughts on draft picks. Mike and Rand make those decisions. Obviously, I knew it was an area that could be addressed, but they did just a little bit probably later than I thought it was going to. But we added some other key positions, some talent that will help us across the board.
All right, so there's Ryan Tannehill talking about the fact that no one asked him when it came to not picking a wide receiver. Later on, he also spoke about the fact that this is the NFL. They asked him about Will Levis being drafted, another quarterback, 2nd year in a row that Ryan Tannehill's had to answer questions this time of the year about quarterbacks being drafted. This is what he had to say about that.
Nothing's given to you in this league, and I've seen that over my now 12 years here in the NFL. Things can change quickly, so just as a player, you understand, like I said earlier, you have a process that you go about, and you take advantage of each and every day and try to grow as a player every day that you get the opportunity to do that. And you have to progress, and you have to make plays when it comes down to it.
All right, Ryan Tannehill speaking there, and we'll hear a little bit more from him a little bit later. But Darren, any initial thoughts here? And I know there's a lot more to play from Ryan, but
how long did he talk for?
I think he talked about 10 minutes.
So I was going to say 8 to 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's the way it felt. have to look at the exact timer, but yeah.
We probably should have played a lot of it.
No, play the full thing. We can do that.
Because it wasn't that long. Ryan Tannehill doesn't elaborate much. I've talked about this before. He really doesn't ever say anything. But I got to be honest, today I felt like he was a little bit more forthcoming than he's been in the past, and had my wheels turning. I'm like, why does he seem to be willing to kind of step out there just a little bit more? That usually gives you nothing. I mean, he used to play his press conferences every Wednesday, and it was yawn city, man. He didn't say anything. It was like, ugh.
He gave us a lot last year on the whole mental health thing.
Yes.
That became a national story, him talking about that.
Okay,
and that was him just
why did that happen?
Just spitting, though.
Why'd that happen?
Why did he talk about the mental health angle of this?
Why did that press conference happen? And why did that press conference turn into what it did? Do you remember the circumstances?
I'm trying to remember why he was talking. I thought it was just him coming.
Well,
wasn't it just the veterans showing up? Because a lot of players spoke that day. It wasn't just him.
Yeah, well, that was in like OTAs, right? Right, because nobody had heard from him since January.
Well, that's true.
Okay, remember when he threw 3 interceptions and then lost the Bengals game and he played horribly?
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't talk to the media when they locker cleanout day. He left. Okay, he didn't talk to anybody.
Okay.
And so he'd been gone off the grid for months. Remember then there was the boat picture, right? Where
there was.
What was the Celsius? What is the brand? Whatever.
I don't know. Yeah.
Right? And I was like, oh, your team's back here doing some
but then he said he
workouts
took the picture months ago, and it wasn't.
The point is, it's a bad look, man. You make $30 million, you're the franchise quarterback, you're the starter. You gotta answer questions. You gotta be more visible. You gotta be around, man. You got to. And he took a lot of heat. And he knew it. He was taking a lot of heat. Hell, I was giving him heat because he just wasn't handling it very well. He just wasn't. And he'd gone off the grid since January. And quite honestly, this market was ticked. You know this. We've talked about it. Right?
Yeah.
This market was ticked.
Yeah, people were very upset.
Because it felt like that was their window, right? That was their year.
That was the year.
They got home field advantage throughout. It was the year. It was
Number
always
one
going to
seed,
set
all
up.
that stuff. Yep.
It was setting
Everybody's
up
healthy
for them to make their run. Yes.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it. And,
nothing.
He plays poorly and they lose to the Bengals.
Yeah.
And this market was on fire. They were not happy.
Yeah.
And they weren't happy with him. And he kind of gone underground. And it's like, well, I understand, man, but you make $30 million. You're the highest paid player on the team. And, oh, by the way, you're the starting quarterback. So, yeah, you might want to be around with your teammates because they're back here in town. And I know you say you work out, you do your own thing. I get it. And so do other guys. But, again,
he was going
the
through some
circumstances are not the same.
No. Well, they're not the same this year, for sure.
No, that's where I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Okay. It felt today like a guy that said, oh, okay, this is my last year here. So I don't want to say I don't care, but I'm not going to be as guarded as I normally am because this is 1 year for me. I'm going to be here this year.
Yeah.
And I know I won't be here next year.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
And they've made it very obvious.
But yeah, right, because
I'm not going to be here next year.
It's not like he's got degrees hanging up on the wall and he's, we're calling him Dr. Tannehill to figure that out.
No.
The team traded up in the second round at the beginning of the second round and gave up assets to draft Will Levis.
Yeah.
So everybody knows the writing is on the wall.
And by the way, the year before, they also drafted a quarterback.
That was
supposed to be
2 years.
his heir apparent. And,
look, it's loud and clear what the organization is doing.
Yeah.
And he knows that. So he's like, well, this is my last year. I mean, I don't have to be as guard. I'm not saying he's going to go all, scorched earth this year. But it's very clear that he's not as guarded, in my opinion, as he's been in the past.
He did say one thing today that jumped out at me in that, what is your job here? What do you feel like you're here to do? And he said, I'm here to win football games. And I bring that up because there is still... There's a group of people that are still holding out hope that he's going to be traded somewhere. And I get this question almost every day from some fan or people, at Fox, people wanting to know, well, you think Ryan Tannehill's going to be traded? And I keep asking them, sure, trade him to where? Find me a team.
Yeah.
Find me a team that's going to take him
salary.
at his age and his salary. No. You let me know which team that is and which situation that, that would be good for. And they go, well, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
There's no situation out there. So him saying that I'm here to win football games is a stamp on the fact he's here to play. He's not here to,
He's here to play for his future.
Yeah,
That's
he's not here to teach Will Levis. He's not here to be traded. He's not got his eye out the window here.
Remember, he
see.
also said that last year. It's not my job to teach Malik. Remember that?
And it's not.
It's not. I grant you that. But again, highest paid guy.
Oh yeah, no, he's
at the
that
quarterback.
Now.
It's just probably best not to say that. Right? I don't disagree with you. It's just probably best not to say that. All right, We'll step away. We'll come back. More of the McFarland Show next year on Nashville Sports Radio.
Celebrate the history of our national pastime at the National Baseball Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown. See priceless treasures that'll bring your baseball memories to life. Connect with events that have shaped and changed the game and our country. Our stories to tell, your memories to share. Plan your visit today at baseballhall.org.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry's starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter code FOOTBALL at checkout. That's harrys.com, code FOOTBALL. Enjoy.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/joy. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/joy. That's 4hims.com/joy for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/JOY.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Jim Wyatt.
Sing it, Barry.
Ask
Sing
for
it.
my input. Looks like we made it.
Justin.
Are you kidding me?
You did it, man.
Jim Wyatt, I've been asking Jim Wyatt questions for years. This is the first time that Jim Wyatt has ever asked me a question.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
Five-state forecast. Your exclusive National Sports Radio WNSR Sky Scan forecast. Today's going to be sunny with a high of 68. Clear tonight, low 44. Sun mixing with clouds Thursday, the high 74. Cloud showers and maybe a thunderstorm Friday, the high 68. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Rinaldi.
Sports Radio WNSR.
Text the Strike and Spare studio now at 615-844-5600. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland
We'll talk more about what we're about to hear from Titans quarterback Ryan Tannehill to begin the second hour with Steve Lehman from News Channel 5. But here is a little bit of what Ryan Tannehill had to say to the media today.
So, Ryan, why was it so important for you to be here at the start of this offseason program? And it looks like you've been around for quite a bit, putting in a lot of work.
Yeah, just coming off the injury at the end of last year, having surgery. I wanted to do everything I could to get back and be ready to go by this time of the year. And felt like being here in the building with trainers and therapists that I trusted and felt like they could do a good job of rehabbing me and get me ready to go.
How is it? Do you feel like you're all the way back? Or?
Yeah, I feel really good. Obviously, it's been a long time getting to this point, but was able to step into this offseason, feeling really good.
What was the first part of the offseason like for you as you kind of reflected back on 2022 and maybe what's your mindset moving forward?
Yeah, obviously tough, just finishing the way we did, the way, I did, just not being able to be out there. It sucks. But at that point, my focus was doing everything physically I could to get ready, putting the time in, the work in to get the ankle right and feeling good, being able to move around again and get ready for the next year.
Rand said he talked to you in February. He said you knew exactly where you stood with the organization. Where is that? How do you stand with the organization?
My job's to get ready to go win football games, and that's what I'm going to do each and every day.
Well, knowing, what has been invested in your position in the last couple of years, how do you go about approaching that and just maintaining, just kind of staying in your lane? Is it just a matter of keeping what's in front of you, or how do you do that?
Yeah, exactly. You can only control what you can control, right? Mike and Rand make those decisions, and as players, you got to control what you can control, and that's doing the best you can, prepping yourself mentally and physically each and every day to go win football games.
What do you think of the addition of Will Levis?
Yeah, hopefully he adds to the room. Obviously, a talented guy, coming off a great college career. So, we'll see when I get to meet him here in a few weeks. Or next week, I don't even know exactly when.
You kind of went through this last year, of course, with Malik getting drafted and all these questions too. Does it make this round of all those type questions any easier, in a team drafting a potential future quarterback?
Yeah, we've been down this road before, so it's definitely a little bit of deja vu. But like I said, Mike and Rand make those decisions. My job is to go out and try to win football games.
You're a competitor, obviously. When the team drafts somebody, does it make you want to dig in even more and say, hey, I'm the guy?
My process doesn't really change. I like to believe that I'm giving my all every time I go out there and prep, whether it's in an OTAs or week 15, getting ready to go win a game. You want to have a process about how you go about things, take your job seriously each and every day, knowing that nothing's given to you and got to go out there and earn everything. So, that process doesn't change.
Right. Has that always been that way, or did the experience in Miami sort of inform that as well or change you in any way?
I mean, you definitely grow from life experiences, right? Whether it's something that happened when you were a kid or early on in your professional career, everything in life is a learning experience. So you're learning from your own life experiences. You're learning from what you're seeing happen in other places, throughout the league or in other areas of your life, and just trying to take in all that information and grow from it.
What's it a little different from the receivers that you have currently to work with and what you've seen so far during the offseason work?
Yeah, guys are out there working hard. Traylon has been doing a great job. Nick's doing a great job. Kyle is out running again, so that's great to see. Mason's out there working hard. Racy's moving well. We have a bunch of guys that have been around and have been doing a good job for us in preparation. Learning a new system, being a new offense, new concepts, all that type of stuff. But guys are digging in. They're working hard, and that's all you can ask for.
Some of those guys are going to have to step up, though, and play much bigger roles than they did a year ago?
Yeah, no question. I mean, you look who we got in the room, and that's who it is. So I'm going to have to go out, compete each and every day, and we'll see, who ends up getting the majority of the time. But definitely, guys are going to have to step up just like they are in every position across the board.
Has your representation had any conversations with the Titans about your contract heading into the last year with the big number? Would you like an extension at this point?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into professional side of things, the business side of things up here.
All right, there you go. There was most of Ryan Tannehill today with the media. We'll come back, and Michigan will get to you down in Murfreesboro to close out Hour number 1 of the McFarland Show. We'll do that next.
You enjoy the thrill of gambling, but what happens when it becomes a problem? Whether you want to cut back or quit gambling altogether, the Gambling Clinic has been helping people change their gambling for over 2 decades. We're here to help, not to judge. The Gambling Clinic is a Tennessee-based clinic offering in-person and telehealth support to help people win back their life. Visit us at thegamblingclinic.com. This project is funded by the Tennessee Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services.
There are a lot of fun days in May. There's Cinco de Mayo. There's May the 4th be with you. There's No Socks Day. What? May all your days be winners this month with the all-new Instant Games. They feature top prizes up to $200,000 and are waiting for you at your nearest Tennessee Lottery retailer. Only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
The Tennessee Lottery congratulates this year's graduates from all the colleges and universities across the state. Your achievements set the stage for a brighter tomorrow. We're happy to have helped along the way by raising more than $6.8 billion for education and funding over $1.9 million scholarships and grants, including Hope Scholarships, Tennessee Promise, and much more. Visit DionLottery.com to see how our proceeds support successful futures.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's April, and you know what that means? Taxes are almost due. Jackson Hewitt can help you win tax season. That's the sound of your maximum tax refund. The sound of getting 50% off tax prep. The sound of many of our competitors' prices going up. And the sound of getting to your nearest Jackson Hewitt. Hurry in for 50% off tax prep before this offer expires April 9th. Limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Music City will be rocking June 23rd through the 25th with a different sound. The sound of NASCAR.
Start your engine!
The Ally 400 is back at Nashville Superspeedway, and this year, it's a night race. NASCAR in Nashville. It's guitars and fast cars under the lights. Visit NashvilleSuperspeedway.com to get your tickets for the triple header weekend, including the Ally 400, Tennessee Lottery 250, and the Rackley Roofing 200 today.
The Jim Rome Show.
I get a lot of vacation. I understand that. However, I don't take a lot of sick days. These things are not one and the same. That was not like I worked 8 straight days or I worked Super Bowl Sunday. I think I'll give myself a day off. I earned it. Hey, and by the way, I could because I have those days. I pride myself in not taking sick days. I hate that. We usually grind through it. But honestly, it was the right thing. In that case, it was the right thing.
The Jim Rome Show. Weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville's Sports Radio.
Welcome back to the Strike and Spare Studios. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
We're expected to have Kentucky's offensive coordinator on Friday's show. We'll keep you posted on that. Of course, want to get his thoughts on Titans second round pick, Will Levis. But first, before we wrap up this hour, let's head down to the borough. We've been waiting for this phone call, Justin, because we even had people calling in yesterday going, where's Michigan? Why hasn't he called in yet? Because we know he struck again with one of his predictions. Michigan, what's up?
My reputation precedes me, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, sir.
And,
People were calling in yesterday wondering why you haven't called yet.
Michadamas strikes again.
I know.
I don't know what to tell you guys. I'm simply, I had Oral Roberts 2 years ago. I made a very, very nice sum on Florida Atlantic this year. And I made a little something on Seattle and Florida, both winning in Game 7s on Sunday. I would say it's luck, but I'm Irish, so I don't really believe in that sort of thing. It just kind of follows me around. Here's what I want to talk about, though. I'm very, very happy that I was right about Seattle. I was really worried. Darren, you watch as much hockey as I do, if not more. I was really worried about Colorado's ability to beat them in games like 5, 6, and 7 without some of their heavy hitters, particularly Landeskog. Because every time they were coming up the ice, they were just getting forechecked to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And I worry about this. I was worried about the same thing against Dallas because we know, we've seen more of Dallas than I ever want to see again in the rest of my life. And a ton of their guys, Rupe Hintz, Jamie Benn, I never in a million years would have thought they'd have gotten 5 goals by Ottinger. That just seems impossible. But here we are. And, Florida beating Boston. Again, I thought that Boston team was suspect all year, and I thought they got real fat at the light end of the salad bar, if you will, and beat a lot of teams on the second night of back-to-backs, third game in 5 nights, that sort of stuff. I was not convinced that they were very tough. And all the years I've watched hockey, the one thing I can say is it very rarely works out that you change the chemistry of a team that much at the trade deadline and you end up winning the Stanley Cup. There are exceptions. There have been, teams that have added things that they were missing at the deadline. I think about the Capitals team that won the Stanley Cup, added a few pieces towards the deadline that year. But it just, more often than not, messing with the chemistry of the room just doesn't always work out. And I'm really curious about your thoughts as we go forward, because we're going to have, how much I love hockey, we're going to have an awesome final no matter who it is.
Agreed.
I mean, the last time any of these teams won the Cup was Carolina, and I want to say 2006. You got the Maple Leafs, 1967, the Oilers, 1990. You got 3 teams that have never won a Stanley Cup. It's going to be high drama. And again, I'm not an objective speaker on this matter, but give me the Stanley Cup playoffs, and you can leave just about every other sports playoffs behind. I'm particularly referencing the NBA. I haven't watched a lick of NBA this year because the NHL has been so compelling. What say you guys?
Well, I will say this, Michigan. If you keep doing this, you are getting dangerously close to getting your own segment on the show. And I don't know what we'll call it, but we'll come up with a fancy open and a theme music. And my guess is it will be appointment listening, because whenever you give out a winner, the radio dial will be stuck right here on this, because it has been amazing, starting with the call where you said, I'm worried about TCU.
TCU, Michigan.
I'm worried. And I was like, We'll
call it free money with Michigan.
Don't worry about it. I mean, now Michigan comes on here. He said it. He told us before the series, Seattle is upset special, beat Colorado. He keeps making these predictions.
Keeps happening.
I will tell you this, Michigan, and I said this before the playoffs started. I pick every year and I stink. It's just, that's what's fun, to your point about the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's so unpredictable. It's so unpredictable. I had Boston and Edmonton in the Stanley Cup final. I still feel very good about Edmonton. I felt like that was my leap of faith pick.
I don't think Boston's going to make it.
Well, I don't either. I think that one's going to be wrong. I feel good about that, actually. So that was my prediction before the playoffs began. We'll come back. Hour number 2 next.
On air and online, Sports Radio WNSR, Brentwood, Nashville.
ABC News, I'm Rena Roy. In Atlanta, the search for a gunman identified as 24-year-old Dion Patterson continues. Authorities say 1 person is dead and 4 others injured after he began shooting inside the Laureate Medical Center. Patterson is considered armed and dangerous. ABC News contributor and former FBI agent Brad Garrett says it takes time in the busy area filled with workers, residents, and businesses.
Saving people obviously is a second-by-second thing. You clear the building, you get the surviving victims out, you make sure that building's secure, and then at the same time, obviously, because you have a lot of manpower, you're clearing the surrounding buildings.
Authorities released photos of the suspected gunman wearing a gray hooded sweatshirt, backpack, and medical face mask. The Federal Reserve announced it's raising interest rates by 0.25%, raising the central bank's benchmark federal funds rate to a range between 5 and 5.25%. This is ABC News.
If you own a small to medium-sized business that kept employees on payroll through COVID, you may have a big cash refund waiting for you. The Employee Retention Credit is a tax credit of up to $26,000 per employee. And now, more businesses than ever qualify. The experts at RefundsPro.com specialize in cutting through the red tape of qualifying for this government program. Most of their refunds are over $100,000. Even businesses that have received PPP funds may be eligible. And there are absolutely no fees unless you receive a refund. So there's no reason not to apply. If your business experienced shutdowns, limited capacity, supply chain challenges, or reduced revenue due to COVID, you likely qualify. RefundsPro.com has already helped hundreds of businesses. So don't lose the refund you're owed by missing the deadline. Get started today with a free 5-minute questionnaire at RefundsPro.com. That's refunds with an S, pro.com.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Hurry and shop the final days of Springfest at Lowe's. Right now, get an additional $300 off when you spend $1,996 or more on select major kitchen appliances. And keep your lawn looking fresh with savings on the Ego 15-inch string trimmer. It was $219, now it's $199. Shop Springfest today because Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 4/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering professional-grade industrial supplies, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to answer your toughest questions. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios.
Just a bit outside.
Now back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call now at 615-844-5600.
Oh, righty there.
Now the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Second hour McFarland Show here on this Wednesday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. It's gorgeous outside. Darren and Justin here with you, Strike and Spare Family Fun Center Studio. You can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Michigan likes free money with Michigan.
Free money with Michigan.
Now we just wait on bated breath for the next time he calls in, where we can implement free money with Michigan. We can all just sit there with our pen and paper and get ready to write down a big fat winner.
Not guaranteed, but for entertainment purposes only.
Sure. Yes.
Got to put the disclaimer out there.
Yes. Can you see me?
I'm not
if
sure.
If you're watching, you can.
Yes.
I'm winking.
For
yes.
Entertainment purposes only.
Yes. Let's go to Steve Lehman, News Channel 5. He's on the line with us. Steve, what's going on?
Hey, Darren. Hey, J-Mac. I will say that I like free money. So if you guys have any of that or know how to get me involved with that, I'm in.
Yeah. If you know anybody who doesn't, bring them to me. I'll slap them because that's silly.
Okay.
I mean, who doesn't like free money, right?
I mean, I'll take a winner for the Derby this weekend too. I mean, however you want to dole it out, I'm accepting.
Yeah, we haven't told. I mean, this caller keeps calling into the show. He's been doing this since we've been on the air for 6. Well, actually, it started before the Michigan TCU game. Hence, he's a Michigan fan, as we know. He goes by Michigan. And he called in, and he was just like, I'm very, very concerned about Michigan's game against TCU. And he was not like, not the spread. Oh, no. Like, concerned they're going to lose. And I was like, Michigan, stop it. Stop being a worry ward. I'm just like, come on, man. You're totally fine. Maybe they don't cover. Ain't no way they're losing. Okay, they're not losing to TCU. That's what started this whole ball rolling down the hill. And then he's been calling in, making predictions ever since, and he's been right every time. And by the way, he called in before the Stanley Cup playoffs and said, here's my upset special. Seattle beats Colorado.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We better listen up then.
Yeah, he has our attention. That's what we're getting at. He has our attention.
Yes, he does.
Every time he calls in with a prediction, it happens.
It's getting a little scary.
Yeah, it is. All right.
He needs one of those 1-800 hotlines, 1-800-Michigan or whatever.
No doubt. I said in the first hour when we were talking about Ryan Tannehill talking today to the media, it felt a little bit different to me. It felt like, yes, did he go, scorched earth? No. Was he a little bit more revealing than he's been since he's been here as the quarterback for the Titans? Yeah, I thought so. Maybe it's just a skosh, but I thought he was willing to go some places typically he doesn't go, which tells me he's a guy that said, yeah, you just drafted a quarterback yet again, and you traded up in the second round to get this one. I know this is my last year here, so why do I need to be as careful as I've been in the past? Did you have those same thoughts, or do you have a different take?
No, I think that's probably right. I think Ryan Tannehill has always been a team-first guy and a good soldier in the building. But let's face it, for a guy who came in mid-season after being a starter and a first-round pick in Miami, getting traded, and really no one around the league believing in him, who came in and took the backup role without any complaints and just went about his business, and then all of a sudden, 6 weeks into a season, he gets thrusted in and takes over the team and leads them to a great record the rest of the way into the playoffs and all the way to the AFC Championship game, and follows that up with back-to-back division titles, a number one seed in the AFC in one of those years, and they were in line to win the division again before he really got beat up at the end of the season last year. That's a pretty good resume. And yet I feel like Ryan Tannehill gets beat up a ton by Titans fans and, frankly, by the national media. And look, he was awful in that playoff game a couple of years ago when they were the number one seed. And just like he deserves the credit for getting him there, he deserves the blame for how bad he was in that game. And I think he even understands that. But he has probably gotten the short end of the stick in terms of the evaluation of what he's truly done here. And the idea that the Titans traded up last year in the third round to take a quarterback, it said a lot. And the idea that they followed it up this year by trading up in the second round to take a quarterback, I think says a lot as well. Part of that is it says that they don't believe in the third round pick they took last year. But it also very much says that they don't believe that they can be elevated to the level that they need to be a true contender with Ryan Tannehill. And there's probably a lot of people out there who believe that, but there's no real way to get around it now. I mean, up until now, I think Tannehill could always be like, look at my resume, and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be even better this year, and we're going to go win again. We're going to get back to the playoffs. We're going to make a run in the playoffs, and we'll just shut all this down. But with his contract and, frankly, the look of this roster this year, I mean, I'm sure he'll go out there and he'll try to lead them, and I bet he'll get the most out of his season. But at the end of the day, unless that's winning a Super Bowl this year, which I don't think anybody thinks is possible with this roster, I don't see how he's back beyond this year. And so I think you probably will see a little bit more open and honest dialogue from Tannehill, and probably the writing on the wall that this is Will Levis' team in 2 years, if not before.
Steve, we're scheduled to have Kentucky's offensive coordinator join us on Friday's show. Of course, it's Liam Cohen, who was not with them last year. He was with the L.A. Rams. He was the OC the year prior. He's back at Kentucky as the OC, and obviously we want to talk to him about his thoughts on Will Levis. It is amazing how Will Levis is a real lightning rod figure. I got to be honest, like, I'm not even sure how it morphed into what it is. Typically, to be a lightning rod, you have to be like a Johnny Manziel, right? Like, you have to be way out there and flamboyant and all kinds of stuff always surrounding you. Just there needs to be a whole lot of stuff around you. And I don't really sense a whole lot of stuff around Will Levis, but I'll tell you what, people certainly have an opinion one way or the other on how they feel about him. Most don't really like him. Most don't really think he's good. I mean, when people have a problem with, his mom, his sister, and his girlfriend being in the green room with him or there on camera with him, the whole Thursday night, it tells you for whatever reason, people just have an axe to grind with this guy. Are you a little surprised at that?
I am. He is by far the most polarizing quarterback in this draft, and he's the fourth highest rated amongst them. It is bizarre to me how much people wanted to poke into him, and it really started to me last year, and I don't know where it came from. I think there were high expectations. I think to some degree what he did 2 years ago to really burst onto the scene, there were some people who looked at it and said, like, okay, yeah, that's fine. He's got a big arm, but he's at Kentucky. They're not truly elite. How good can he possibly be? And then last year, when Liam Cohen was gone and there was a new guy in his ear, and yes, the system wasn't completely different, but it was a new play caller, and that takes some getting used to, as we've seen here in Tennessee. I mean, certainly Todd Downing, running a lot of the same plays that Arthur Smith ran, was a very different play caller in terms of his effectiveness. And so I think he had to battle that last year at Kentucky, and they weren't nearly as talented. And obviously Rodriguez had suspension issues at the beginning, and then Levis got hurt, and so he was trying to play on a bad toe throughout, which limited him and what he was able to do and the full arsenal or repertoire of his skill set. And so you just didn't see the same guy. And I think all of the naysayers out there, and we know who some of them are, looked at that and just said, see what I told you, he's not elite. He's not a number one type quarterback. He shouldn't be a first-round pick. He can't be a franchise guy. And so, as sad as it is, I think there were people who took pleasure the other night when he sat in the green room and his name tumbled down the first round and out of the first round. And I don't really understand that. I've never been one to root for other people's misery or failure. And so, I hope from that perspective that Will Levis takes this as a chip on his shoulder, that the Titans believed in him. They're going to give him an opportunity. And now it's his chance to go prove all those people that he actually is elite. And all the talk was just that. It was talk. And on the field, he can be a very, very good player.
I'm not comparing him to these guys. I'm just saying we've seen this play out before. And I can give you some examples where I'm sure to this day they have still used that as motivation, right? Again, I'm not saying this is how it's going to play out. We saw Jalen Hurts fall. He got drafted in the second round. Mm-hmm. We saw Aaron Rodgers painfully sit there all night and fall to 23 to the Packers? We saw Lamar Jackson painfully fall and sit there, last pick in the first round or right there at the end of the first round. So there have been examples of quarterbacks that have had to go through this and go through the tumble and come out on the other side. Now, how much them using this as motivation help them? I mean, you still ultimately have to have, the decision-making, the smarts, the athletic ability, and all this other stuff, the talent to do it. But I'm saying there have been examples of guys that have had to go through this painful experience and come out on the other side, and they're the ones who get the last laugh.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And again, if you're a Titans fan, you got to hope that that's it, that he has that chip on his shoulder, and then he steps into a situation with a roster around him that hopefully looks even better than it does today when he fully takes over, and he can make something out of it. Ultimately, when I look at this draft, and this includes the Levis pick, Rand Carthon at every selection in this draft got a guy who essentially, if you look at all the big boards or put the composite board together of what everybody thinks, got guys who were rated higher than where the Titans took him. So they got guys who were really good value for the picks. Now, you can argue at the end of the day that they should have jumped away from that philosophy and gotten any wide receiver earlier on because they haven't really done anything to that wide receiver position, and so it's still very much a weakness even after going through the draft. You can certainly say that, but he tried to get value, and he got value in getting Will Levis in the second round, but ultimately the value of this draft for Rand Carthon is going to come down to whether Will Levis does what you just said. Does he become a good NFL quarterback? Not just a starter, but a starter that can lead the Titans to wins. If he does, Carthon in this draft looks like a genius because he traded up and got a first-round talent in the second round who then became a winning quarterback in the NFL. If Will Levis doesn't do that, then it's a complete bust because he traded up in the second round to get a guy who's not a true starter at this level. And even though Carthon isn't blamed for this, you cannot forget that the Titans as an organization traded up in the third round last year for another quarterback who at this point looks like a complete bust and doesn't look like he belongs in the league. And that's something else you have to consider here. As I told you guys, unless I was in love with someone, I wouldn't have taken a quarterback. And I still think that. But ultimately, this draft is going to be judged how Will Levis does. And if he's good, Carthon's going to look like a genius. If he's bad, it's going to seem like another wasted pick.
All right, Steve. They got good value at the pick for Tajay Spears. They got good value at the pick with the tight end out of Cincinnati. And that's fantastic. But how does that help them with Treylon Burks and Nick Westbrook-Akina and the rest of that group in the wide receiver room that basically hasn't changed, no disrespect to Colton Dow from Wilson County? But it didn't get a whole lot better over the weekend, where I think a lot of fans were expecting that it would get a whole lot better and they would get a lot more juice, and it didn't line up the way they wanted to. How does what is their plan? What are they planning to do? Or are they just saying, you know what? It is what it is. Let's go play.
I have no idea, honestly. I'm going to sit down with Rand Carthon on Friday and talk to him for this Sunday's Sunday Sports Central on News Channel 5. And that's one of the things I want to ask him. What is your plan at wide receiver? Or maybe more succinctly, can you win with the current group of pass catchers you have at wide receiver? Or do you have to do something else? Because I just don't see it at the moment. I mean, first off, somehow I think we jump to the assumption that Treylon Burks is a number one because he has to be by default.
Yes.
But if we go back a year, I mean, he was showing up out of shape. He was struggling with asthma. He was struggling to get through training camp. He missed a bunch of games during the course of the season. There were certainly flashes there that looked like a first-round pick and looked like a number one wide receiver. But, I mean, he had like 500 yards receiving, or if that, for the entire year. He's certainly not a bona fide number one in the NFL based off of what we've seen. You can hope he's that, but that's not what we've seen to this point. And then beyond that, your leading receiver was Robert Woods. They got rid of him, and I don't really fault that because I don't think Robert Woods really fit what they wanted to do. But they haven't replaced that production at all. I love Nick Westbrook-Akina, but he's a third or fourth wide receiver that very much fits into the system. He's not a guy that's going to get you 75 catches. And the other addition in free agency, okay, that's fine, but that's not a game changer. And I think the same thing for Colton Dow. I mean, frankly, I think Colton Dow's a nice pick.
Mm-hmm.
But is he all that much different than what you're going to get in some of the undrafted free agents you bring in? So at the moment, it just seems like you got Treylon Burks, Nick Westbrook-Akina, Chris Moore, and a whole bunch of guys out there that are just going to compete in training camp. And competition's good, but at some point you need some talent, some guys that can run by a DB or go up over a DB and make a play. And I don't know if the Titans have any of those guys outside of Treylon Burks if he's healthy right now. And that's a problem in this league.
It's a problem because they somehow just bypassed it. I'm still trying to understand, like, you know, it's almost like going into the store to buy something and you bought everything else because it was on sale and left the store without going in there to buy the thing that you went in there to get. And that's kind of the way it feels. And, you know, now you're back home and you're trying to make whatever it is you're trying to make, and you go, oh, yeah, that's the whole reason I went there is to get that thing, and I didn't get it. And that's the part I'm having a hard time swallowing here with this.
And I think a lot of Titans fans are, Justin. Look, I think if you could replay the entire draft over from the get-go, I think the Titans probably, in their greatest hope, wanted the Texans to take Will Anderson at 2, and they were going to trade up and get C.J. Stroud. And the Texans executed that beautifully, and that's no fault of the Titans. They couldn't do anything. But the Texans took Stroud at 2, which then also took the trade value for the Titans to move up, or other teams who maybe coveted Stroud. It took it completely away. So they ruined the trade market for the Cardinals, which meant then they could come in with a lower price and trade up themselves and then take Will Anderson at 3. So I thought the Texans executed flawlessly at the top of the draft, and because they did that, I think it changed the goal for the Titans off the top. And then they said, all right, we'll see where we are in a few picks. It got to 11. I do think they love Skoronski. I think they liked him better than any wide receiver they had on the board, thought it was great value, and said, okay, we're taking a tackle that can be a player for us for several years. He can be the next Lewan or Michael Roos or Bruce Matthews or whatever. We think he's that good. Okay, they've done that. Then Levis falls to the second round, and they think we got to get up to take him because it's such great value, right? This is a first-round quarterback that we can get there, and they do that. And then you start getting deeper and deeper into the draft, and you wonder who the wide receivers are, who the guys that you think you're going to take. And it was a deeper wide receiver class. I think Colton Dowell is a pretty good wide receiver that they got even in round 7.
Sure.
But you're right. At the end of the day, the numbers just aren't there, and the talent just isn't there for the Titans.
If you're Hassan Haskins, what are you thinking this morning?
I'm thinking I better be a really good special teams player, and I better prove that I can do some things that I didn't show last year. I mean, the one thing he maybe has to his credit based off of the end of last season is he could be like their third down blocking back, if you will. I don't know exactly.
Is that worth a roster spot? The third down blocking back? Is that what we're doing?
Well, I mean, they've had a bunch of third down only backs out there. Dontrell Hilliard, Darrington Evans, even to a small.
Yeah, but they
degree
got to
before
touch the
that.
ball,
So-
Steve. Like they weren't third down blocking backs.
I'm sorry, did
Well-
you say Darrington Evans? Did he play for this team? I don't remember him.
Very limited.
Barely.
Very limited.
Barely. But no, I think for Hassan Haskins, he can catch the ball. But I think that's his role, and he's got to be a really good special teams player if he's going to make this roster. And I don't think that's a given at this point. I think that's what Tajay Spears as a pick means for them. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd be concerned if I'm Hassan Haskins, and I'd be ready to come in and work my butt off and try to prove myself yet again.
Wow, those are interesting comparisons for Skoronski. So you just, as long as he's a Taylor Lewan, a Michael Roos, a Bruce Matthews, I mean, you might as well throw Brad Hopkins in there too. I mean, that'll be a good pick,
Munchak.
right? Be a good pick.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe I thought.
Any more
I can't
Hall of
believe I
Famers?
Yeah, Mike Munchak.
I cannot believe I forgot about B-Hop, my fellow Illini. So I apologize to Brad out there. But, yes, if he's just like those guys, the Titans
Okay.
gonna be just
He'll be
fine.
fine.
You know what? I like the pick, Steve, now that you've said that.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be all right.
Well, I mean, obviously you never know. As Rand Carthon said last week, it's sort of like playing the lottery. You
Yeah.
just hope you've got the winning ticket at the end, and that's true for everybody in the draft. But I do think, from everything I've been able to gather, they had Skoronski very high.
Yeah, we had
And
we had their offensive line coach on Friday's show, Northwestern's, and you would expect it, right? It's his position coach, and you know that he's going to be glowing. But he was glowing. He was over the top about Skoronski, and not that we didn't expect that, but I'm just saying he definitely, when it came to that kid, he laid it on thick, and I hope he's right, and I hope your comparisons are right, because if it is, they're going to love that pick for a long time.
Yeah, for sure. And whoever the quarterback is needs that, because they can't. Whoever the quarterback is cannot operate behind an offensive line that plays anywhere like last year. It's got to be much better than that, and that starts with having a competent left tackle.
Yep. Good stuff as always. Appreciate it. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Steve.
Anytime, guys. We'll talk soon.
Steve Lehman, News Channel 5. Good stuff. We'll come back. More on the other side. We'd love to hear from you. 615-844-5600 is our phone line and our text line. We'll come back. More of the McFarland Show here on this Wednesday. Nashville Sports Radio.
Timeout.
All right. Remember, we're a team that plays together. Listen, the winning will take care of itself. We just have to get everyone involved.
In interscholastic sports, we celebrate what makes every one of us unique. And in the pursuit of a common goal, everyone in the huddle, in the bleachers, and in the community comes together. This message presented by the TSSAA and the Tennessee Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Today on Hey Culligan's Smart Home, Smarter Water Softener. Here's Kevin.
Hey Culligan, can a smart water softener lift those heavy salt bags for me?
Kevin, it can.
Wait, it can?
Yep, the smart high-efficiency water softener from Culligan can alert your dealer when the salt needs to be replaced, and they'll do it for you, so your water stays soft and you stay away from lifting the bags.
I mean, I could lift them if I wanted.
No judgment here, Kevin. We're happy to do it, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
From local town councils to Capitol Hill, agents who are realtors are standing up for what's right. We're here protecting property rights. Here advocating for the issues that affect our neighborhoods. Here championing fair and equitable housing for all. Because we are realtors, bound by a code of ethics, driven to serve our communities. We're here for it all. Here for you. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Without the ones like you, who work tirelessly to keep things running, everything would suddenly stop. Hospitals, factories, schools, and power plants, they all depend on you. No matter the weather, emergency, or time of day, you're the ones who get it done. At Grainger, we're here for you with professional-grade industrial supplies. Count on real-time product availability and fast delivery. Call, clickgrainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With 13 locations nationally, including Smyrna, Star Leasing Company is a semi-trailer one-stop shop and the perfect place to build a career as a semi-trailer mechanic. Seeking candidates with all levels of experience, Star Leasing Company has a semi-trailer technician trainee program with sign-on and quarterly bonuses and other opportunities such as $1,000 for having a yearly physical. The package also includes 401k with company match, health, dental, and vision insurance, competitive pay with weekly paychecks, and paid holidays and time off. Star Leasing Company, not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. Visit starleasing.com to learn more.
The Atlanta Braves are back, and this 2023 team is ready for another epic season.
There's a liner out towards center field. It will lay down. Base hit. Here comes Ronald. Braves win it.
Tonight, it's another big National League East showdown for the Braves as they take on Jazz Chisholm and the Miami Marlins at Lone Depot Park.
Coverage begins this afternoon at 5:25 on Nashville's longest-running sports station, WNSR. Give us a call, 615-844-5600. The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Predators have inked the Milwaukee Admirals franchise for 2 more years. So the path to Nashville still is going to go through Milwaukee.
Seems like it's been a good relationship.
It has. I'm not, terribly surprised. I know affiliations change, but this seems like this is one that's worked for a good while.
Yeah.
It really has. So Preds up them for 2 more years.
Apparently they got the flight path worked out really well at this point. So they know how to get the players.
They do.
In and out of Milwaukee.
Especially this year. Boy, did they learn that.
Rather easily.
They learned that. Well, in some cases, they even learned how to Uber.
Yeah.
From Milwaukee to here.
Yeah.
That actually happened.
Did some mileage there.
Yeah. That is quite the Uber ride, huh? When everything else is failing,
man,
just jump in an Uber and get here.
The interstates are undefeated. Talking a lot about the Will Levis pick for the Tennessee Titans. Of course, he was the second-round pick for them out of Kentucky. Will Levis is going to be the quarterback of the future, it would seem. Last season, Will Levis completed 185 of his 283 passes. That's a 65% completion rate. 19 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. The year before, he had a 66% completion rate. That is about, so consistent of where he is. They asked him about being accurate and how important is that to his game. You're going to hear from Will Levis, and right after that, you're going to hear from the head coach, Mike Vrabel, talking about the importance of accuracy with the football. Reminder, his accuracy percentage now, 65% last year.
I definitely have room to improve, but accuracy and decision-making, I feel like are a couple of my strengths. And especially at this next level, I know that they have to be taken to the next level if I want to be successful. So, again, just looking forward to learning from the staff and the other players to just develop me to be the best quarterback that I can be.
Well, when you look at completion percentage, 65%, 2 years in the SEC,
What we felt like was over 30 drops that probably would have led to, closer to 70% completion. Every player that we bring in here is going to have a chance to improve and will have to improve. And again, the decision-making, toughness, accuracy are obviously things that we feel are critical with quarterbacks, and we think that the three that we have here are going to be able to do that. Kentucky was a much different football team in 2021 than what they were in 2022. So if we protect him when he's out there at whatever point, if we don't protect him better than what it was, it's probably going to look the same, just like it is for every quarterback. So we try to look at the really good exposures, the great performances. We try to look at them, what they look like at their worst, and then just try to get, pull the curtain and see what it looks like. But there were some really impressive performances against some big-time defenses in the SEC. Now, there's some decisions that have to be better. We can't put the ball in harm's way, no matter who our quarterback is.
So let me just say this.
Yeah, but I've got some thoughts on this, but you go ahead, sir.
This is kind of piggybacking off a new caller, Billy, yesterday. Called in as a Colts fan. And if you remember, he said, I'm not buying all the stuff that people have been saying, excuse making about Levis last year. I'll say this from the conversations that I had with people. What Mike Vrabel just said is 100% true. Now, you can say excuses, or you can say, whatever, or everybody can choose to have their own opinions. These are the facts. The offensive line in 2021 was light years better than the offensive line they trotted out there last year. It was a joke. It was a joke.
You're speaking of Kentucky when you say that.
Kentucky's offensive line last year was a joke. He played most of the season hurt. I had someone tell me at one point late in the season, off the record, I have no clue why this kid's still suiting up and playing. If I were him, I would be like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm hurt. This offensive line sucks. And you know what? I'm going to worry about my future. I'm not going to just sit here and get killed behind this offensive line. He had no weapons at all. The weapons were considerably better in 2021 than 2022. He had no one to throw to last year. He had an awful, and I mean awful, as one person said to me, it may be the worst offensive line in the conference.
Okay.
That's what he was behind. So that's what he was dealing with, and he was hurt, playing hurt. Again, if you don't like him and you don't want to hear that stuff, that's your opinion. That's fine. But I'm just saying what Mike Vrabel just said, those are facts. Those are facts. Yes, they're opinions, but they're opinions that a lot of people who know the game and know what they're doing and know what they're looking at say are true. Because I was conveyed the same thing throughout last season. Like, he's got nobody to throw to. His offensive line is a joke. He's playing hurt, and therefore, was he perfect? No. Look, a lot of this stuff is still on him. I watched the games too.
Sure.
Like, some of his decision-making was poor. It was poor. He probably also was desperate, and he was trying to do things he shouldn't have been trying to do, right? That he wasn't trying to do the year before. And I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. Here's my thing about everything you just said. And I cannot and I will not dispute anything you just said about the state of Kentucky football last year versus the year before. And I cannot and I will not. Here's my only thing about it. Outside of the injury that you spoke of, and he had the hurt foot, everything else you spoke about when it comes to Kentucky football
may translate here
is applicable to the 2022 Tennessee Titans. And I will say this. When Malik Willis was back there trying to throw footballs and all of this, he had some key drops in several games that we all saw. There was none of this kind of energy towards him. It tells me that Coach Vrabel really likes, Coach Vrabel is an old school football guy.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever, Darren, heard this man make not excuses, but give reasons for failure for any other players that are around?
So I said yesterday, this was a Mike Vrabel draft. Did I not?
You did. I'm just
said
saying,
it.
the sounds that were coming out of his mouth yesterday, a couple of days ago when he said that, is unlike.
I'm just saying
it doesn't sound a whole lot like the guy who speaks in post game, who talks about the fact that it doesn't matter what happened. You got to step up and make plays. It doesn't matter about this. Now, I understand when he says that, he's talking about his own guys instead of random people that he's watching on a university tape. I get that. I understand. All I'm saying is this. The offensive line issues, the lack of receiver issues that you spoke about for Kentucky can easily be translated to every single game Malik Willis played, and we see what they think of Malik Willis. Now we're bringing in Will Levis. Well, now he had some drops, and maybe if the receiver catches the ball and if they protect him a little better, then maybe that. Really?
Let me shed some light on what I think also could be in play that you didn't bring up. Would you say Malik Willis is out there or more on the quiet side?
He's more on the quiet side.
Thank you. He is.
He's very reserved.
That's the correct answer. Was Marcus Mariota out
reserved
there or more on the quiet
reserved
side? Do you remember Mike Vrabel ever talking about that? He did. Trust me.
Yeah.
He did. In fact, he brought it up at training camp very loud. Like, this guy needs to take control. There are people that believe that Malik Willis was not commanding the huddle. Malik Willis has got to learn that part of it, too. Look, there is an art to quarterbacks commanding the huddle. Do you think Will Levis is out there?
He's way more out there.
Or a little bit more on the quiet
side?
He's
way more out there.
A little bit.
Now,
if people are, look, that's another knock on him. People are like, hey, man, you need to bring it down a notch or two.
Now, Darren, I'm not trying to say Malik Willis is Donovan McNabb and we're just haven't given him a chance. I'm not saying that. Malik Willis has clearly got some warts and some problems, and it would seem on his way out of here. I'm just saying that the sounds from the football administration sound very different, even though the circumstances are very similar. That's all I'm pointing out.
Well, the good news for Will Levis is applicable to 2023. The good news for him is he probably won't see 2023, so it'll have a different look in 2024. Let's go to Dr. Detroit. Dee, what's up?
Guys, how are you? Well,
good.
I'm so happy the outcome of the draft. I got rainbows still coming out of me. My Detroit Lions got a Tennessee ball quarterback.
I like what they did, man. I got to be honest. I like what they did.
Man, I'm really impressed. How would you rate the Titans, A through F? On draft pick?
I gave it. I was. Justin knows I'm about a C-. I didn't ever put a grade on it. I just said I didn't love it. I'm just being honest. I didn't love it. I give it a C-.
I would do about the same.
Yep. Anyway, we all agree. I said C. Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, and if I pronounce his name right, he will not pronounce the guy's name. Javen Mabry-Reeves has come back to the Lions, and I don't know where we traded that Tennessee Volunteer to when Detroit let him go. Do you guys remember where?
No, I'm sorry.
I don't have it. Yeah, I mean, I know I'm putting you on the spot because
we don't cover Detroit.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not tuned in. Sorry.
He's a volunteer. Come on, I don't care what football helmet he wears.
Listen, did the Pistons hire a coach yet? Are they still working on that?
I don't care
Pistons
what
have been
football,
trying to hire a coach for a while. Did they get around to that? The Pistons, they hire somebody finally.
Oh, my dear God.
Okay.
No, you know what? I don't know how long that coach is going to last. But, like I said before, guys, isn't it something that this year, probably first time ever in history, people were more looking for Detroit Lions draft picks than Red Wings, Pistons and Tigers all combined.
Well, look,
That's
there are people.
It's
Let me just tell you, DD. This is what's going to happen. There are people that are going to pick the Lions to win that division. You watch, it's coming. When everybody makes their predictions,
I feel you.
They're going to be predicting them to win that division. It's going to happen.
I feel you.
All right, man.
No,
Thanks
I'm
for
right
the
there
call.
with you. They better. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
See you, man.
I'm being serious, and heck, it may be me. We're a ways away from making our predictions, but people are going to predict the Lions to win that division.
There will be some people who say that. Sure.
All right, we will come back. Tony, we'll get to you on the other side. More of the McFarland Show next.
And now, Epoch Construction is reminding Americans to show support to the brave men and women who serve our U.S. military. Visit USO.org to locate military care package and see how you can make a difference today. This message brought to you by Epoch Construction, #1 artisan contractor backed by over 20 years of experience. For outdoor living spaces, roofing, and all exterior work, give the pros a call today at 615-766-5490. That's 615-766-5490. Epoch Construction. They're professionals who care.
Like any good agent, we're here for the open house, for the closing, for handing over keys. But because we're realtors, we're here for so much more. Agents who are realtors volunteer at nearly 3 times the national average. We're working to broaden access to credit, increase affordable housing supply, and ensure fair housing for all. And realtors are bound by a code of ethics. We're here for it all. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Hurry and shop the final days of SpringFest at Lowe's. Right now, get an additional $300 off when you spend $1,996 or more on select major kitchen appliances. And keep your lawn looking fresh with savings on the Ego 15-inch string trimmer. It was $219, now it's $199. Shop SpringFest today because Lowe's knows spring. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid to 4/26. Selection varies by location. While supplies last. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details.
Breaking news. Tax refund shock is everywhere, but what is it?
My tax refund shrank.
Mine too. The culprit? Pandemic-related stimulus payments and tax credits expiring. In this reporter's opinion, you need a tax expert.
Hey guys, Jackson Hewitt guarantees your biggest refund.
And tax prep is 50% off? Going there now.
50% off is a limited time offer for new clients filing at participating locations. Max value $200. Visit jacksonhewitt.com/50 for terms.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey Culligan, I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb. It's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
When you're away from home and you want down-home cooking, Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel is the answer. Excellent, fresh, and local, just like Grandma used to make. Start your day with a Music City omelet and some prime rib hash, or a cast-iron waffle with Nashville hot chicken. For those wanting variety, hit the biggest breakfast buffet in Music City. And, of course, the world-famous Biscuit Bar. Start your day with the fresh, local, and down-home cooking of Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown.
Sports fans, listen to Youth Connect on Monday nights at 6 and hear me, Seagull Boys basketball coach Matt Rigsby and Darren McFarland.
Hey, listen to Youth Connect on Monday nights from 6 until 7 o'clock as we highlight high-level trainers, coaches, and players in and around Middle Tennessee. Give us a call at 615-844-5600. We live video stream all of our shows on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
And hear me, Seagull Boys basketball coach Matt Rigsby.
And hear me, Darren McFarland, live on WNSR Nashville Sports Radio.
Text the Strike and Spare studio now at 615-844-5600. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Greg texted into the show and said, D-Mac, J-Mac, if you could talk about Boro retiring today from the Preds. What I hope happens is the Preds make him the hockey is for everyone ambassador. We touched on this at the beginning of the show. Mm-hmm. And yes, if you haven't heard, Mark Borowiecki has called it a career. No surprise there. If you've been listening to the show, you've heard me say that. If you've been listening to the Predators official podcast. You've heard me been saying that for a good while now. Not that I had inside information, just reading the room. And I asked David Poile in the end of the year presser, that was, in fact, the last question of the press conference, if Mark Borowiecki had told him his intentions moving forward. And he said no, but he did say in that press conference that he had offered him a position with the organization if he so chooses to walk away from hockey. So, Greg, to your point, if he chooses to stay here and live, I suspect that he probably would accept a job with the Predators organization. I do not think it's far-fetched to believe that. I don't.
Yeah, and they've done this for other players in the past. This is not the first time.
He's a well-liked person.
Yeah.
Okay, and he would be great in a role, whatever they come up with. But we'll see. I suspect he's either going to live here or he's going to go back to Ottawa. But as we've seen, a lot of people choose Nashville.
Yeah, over and over.
This just in.
Yeah, Nashville's popular.
Let's go to Tony. Tony, what's up?
Good afternoon, guys.
Good afternoon.
The McFarland Show. It's always good to be a part of it.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
Darren, I'm going to talk a little baseball here first of all real quick, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the Titans. Last night, the SEC went 8-1 on Tuesday night games. Now, what I'm fixing to say to you is going to help you sleep a little better tonight.
I could use that.
Lipscomb went to Arkansas and knocked off the Razorbacks.
Did they? I did not see that.
They did.
Wow.
However, the bigger news for you, Darren, Texas A&M beat Tarleton State 6-5.
Close game for the Texans.
Those feisty Texans.
The Texans.
The Aggies, Texas A&M beat them. Yes, sir.
If they would have lost to Tarleton
you
State.
are going to sleep better tonight knowing that.
Well, you know how I would have felt about Texas A&M baseball if they'd have lost to Tarleton State.
Get them out.
Just season over.
Season over.
That's true. Talking about, add this up, guys. You hear Vrabel saying, Kentucky, and Darren, you're a Kentucky fan, correct?
I grew up in Lexington, and
there you go.
Yep.
All right. 2021. Levis was good. The line was solid. One of the best lines in Kentucky history, if I remember correctly, and had a hell of a team. This past year, he's running for his life. He got hurt. He's getting off the ground a lot. You just said it a moment ago, possibly one of the worst offensive lines in the SEC last year. We, the Titans now, rebuild the offensive line with a draft pick, 2 free agent additions, and they go get Will Levis. Tells me they're building for 2024.
It certainly feels that way. Yeah.
It feels that way. The running back they got from Tulane, we've all talked about the ACL issues. Well, the guy played all last year without one and seemed to have done quite well. Now, how far he goes in the NFL, he might not have the longevity of 4 or 5 years or 3.5, whatever it is for a running back, but he just might. And he might fill a role to what they're planning on for the exit of Henry, either in 2025 or possibly even after 2024 too. So that's what I'm seeing, and you've hit it on the nail. I think we all have, but you've been saying it. This is a stamp, a thumbprint of Mike Vrabel, what he's building, what he's going to do. When he talks about Will Levis from what he was like at Kentucky in 2021 and that offensive unit to what they're building now at the Titans and this offensive unit, I almost see a mirror image right there of what is about to transpire, what I think, what they're looking at. And that's just where I think the whole draft is going to. And this is one last thing, and I'll leave you on this. He said Saturday or Sunday that there was going to be some things to break loose Monday, Tuesday, and now it's Wednesday. they haven't broke loose. And I think Vrabel, my personal opinion, is he was talking about wide receiver because that's where a lot of complaints have come from about the wide receivers not going out and getting one other than the UT Martin kid. But didn't he do this last year? We had the receiver. They went and got somebody. I forgot who it was, Darren and Justin, in March. And then I think they got rid of him. And then they go get Julian. When I say last year, I'm talking 20.
You're talking about Robert
21.
Woods. Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, Robert Woods.
And then we go draft Burks. We did that. So, and the Titans, y'all touched on it, are notorious for going and getting has-been wide receivers who never pan out through the free agency. I'm going to let y'all talk about
Tony.
it.
Appreciate
I'm getting
it.
off here.
Yep.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
and
you.
Darren, I hope you can sleep better.
I'm going to
when
sleep
you're riding
much
home.
better.
Realize
Thank
that Tarleton State lost to Texas A&M.
Who needs melatonin?
See you guys.
When I know that, Tony. Thank you.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Tony.
we'll step away. We'll take our final break. Come back and wrap up Wednesday's edition of the McFarland Show next.
Hello, this is Philip Cox from Strike and Spare Family Entertainment. Are you looking for new and exciting things to do with the family during the spring and summer months? Thanks to Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers, you don't have to look any further. Sign up today for Kids Bowl Free, a summer pass starting in May where kids 15 and under receive 2 free games of bowling every day. You can also purchase a family pass that allows you to join the fun as well. Visit any of the 5 local Strike and Spare locations in Hendersonville, Murfreesboro, Donaldson, Hermitage, and Tusculum to register, or just visit kidsbowlfree.com/Strike and Spare. Strike and Spare, where fun is bowling.
May is Indoor Air Quality Awareness Month, and now is the perfect time to make sure your home is a clean air home. Radon Mitigation is Nashville's licensed and NRPP certified radon mitigation company, serving the entire volunteer state. Radon is odorless and colorless, so testing every 2 years is the safest path for homeowners. And with Davidson County homes testing higher than the national average, now is the time for radon testing. Let Alex and his team at Radon Mitigation make your home a clean air home. May is Indoor Air Quality Awareness Month, and Radon Mitigation is the only name to know. Give them a call today at 931-47-RADON. That's 931-477-2366. Or online at ChooseRadont.com. That's ChooseRadont.com.
Hey, I'm Alex with Radon Mitigation, proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves on WNSR.
Realtors abide by a code of ethics. This is Article 9 in action. Beth, a first-time homebuyer, knew nothing about the home buying process, except that she wanted to buy a home. But her realtor had the expertise to make sure Beth understood every document, even giving her copies to review with her lawyer so Beth could close on her first home with confidence. Complicated things explained in simple terms. The difference between an agent and a realtor is real. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Bundling car and renter's insurance with Geico is so easy, your neighbors are probably already doing it. But who? Look for the signs. Chances are they live in a home and have a car. They use money and enjoy having more of it. They probably drink lots of lemonade. Lemonade. And they've probably said something suspicious like, "I'm bundling with Geico," or "Stop spying on me with those binoculars." If so, you may want to ask them how easy it was to bundle with Geico. Bundling is easy with Geico. Just ask your neighbors.
There's a weekend in July where the baseball world revolves around a village in upstate New York. Baseball Hall of Fame induction weekend in Cooperstown is an unforgettable experience filled with family-friendly activities and priceless moments. Make your plans today for July 21st through the 24th for the induction of Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland as the class of 2023. Visit baseballhall.org today for the entire schedule. See you in Cooperstown, where the journey becomes legend.
This is the Greg Vogue and John Burton Show.
Hang on a second. You and I both know that I've been in this town longer than all you guys put together.
And on more radio stations
And on every radio station in town. Braves, they're off to a great start down in Atlanta. I was talking to Jeff Rancour. Old Frenchie and I go way back.
Greg Vogue and Newstown Live's John Burton, WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
The McFarland Show, broadcasting live in Rutherford County on 107.9 FM.
Gosh, our music is so good. Gets me pumped up. To what Tony was talking about, and I've brought up this whole week, from the clips that we've played, or the clip that we played with Mike Vrabel talking about Will Levis.
Mm-hmm.
Getting a big, nasty, what was the description Kurt Anderson said about Peter Skoronski, his offensive line coach at Northwestern, about Peter? What did he say? What was the word he used? Wasn't it nasty, or he's...
Well, he did say nasty, yes.
But there was like something that was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Impose his will or something like that. Okay. Does that sound like a Mike Vrabel type of guy?
It does.
A tight end from Cincinnati? Was his best friend the coach of Cincinnati?
Yes.
Just left?
I was trying to explain that to somebody else today. Yeah.
It just feels like a Mike Vrabel draft. The running back thing, I don't know where that came from. Neither one of us can figure out why on earth they took a running back in the third round. But here is...
I can figure out why they like him. I don't know why they decided to do this, but okay.
Here's something I'm going to throw out to you today. I'm going to roll it across the table, and we can talk about it more tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow we'll have just the first hour, then we'll have to turn things over to Braves. Okay, Braves are going to start at 3 o'clock. So we'll have the first hour, and then we'll have to turn it over to Braves baseball. But we'll have an hour to talk with you, and we'll talk, okay? We'll just sit back and chat about these things. Do you think people would have been happier if they would have just they would have stayed put at 41? Is that right? 41.
41.
And what was the other pick? 71 or 72?
71 or 72. I can't remember, but mid-third round.
What if they would have taken Hooker instead? Because Levis was going to go, right? He was going to go. Seems like somebody was going to trade up and take him before 41. So let's say Levis is gone. If they took Hooker, and then if you noticed, there was another run, including a run with UT receivers in the late 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they were willing to trade up in the second round. You're trading up now in the third round. The price is cheaper, doesn't cost as much. If you would have traded up, and I'm just going to roll this across the table.
Okay.
Let's say they take Tillman.
Okay.
What do you think the reaction in this market would be with Hooker, Tillman instead of Levis and a running back from Tulane who doesn't have an ACL?
I think the reaction, obviously, because of the legacy of the city, when you scratch Nashville's paint, there's orange underneath it. I think that there would have been a very favorable reaction to that particular move. The issue is, I'm not sure this organization was going to trade up in any capacity to take a wide receiver. You trade up to take the quarterback because it's the quarterback. I'm trying to picture them trading up to take a wide receiver. If they didn't draft one at all, just until the 7th.
But they were only going to trade up, 5-6 spots, something like that.
Well, they gave up a third from next year to get Levis.
Yeah, but that's trading up to be the first pick in the second round.
Second pick.
Second pick in the second round.
They traded up to get the quarterback. That's my only point.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they would have traded up to get another position.
I'm not saying it would have been different. I'm saying tomorrow we can discuss, would it have been better, actual for their roster?
The fans would have been happy.
Yeah, well, we know that. All right, that is going to do it for our show today. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We look forward to talking to you tomorrow starting at 2 o'clock. We'll see you then.